Environmental Traveling Companions makes the joy and challenge of outdoor adventures accessible to people with disabilities, inspiring self-confidence and connection to nature. Our On the Move host, Donna Yeager, meets with Liz Jessen, who has participated and volunteered at many of the outdoor adventures with Environmental Traveling Companions. Now, here's Liz and Donna.
Hi, I'm Donna Yeager with On the Move, and I'd like to welcome our very special guest, Liz Jessen. Welcome, Liz.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Now, tell me your official title with ETC.
Well, I have two titles with ETC. I'm a volunteer guide for their cross-country ski program and also their sea kayaking program.
Wow.
And I've also, because I'm legally blind, have participated as a participant in some of their events also.
Wow, that's great. And then you have a full-time job on top of that, right?
Yes, I do. I work at our local VA here.
Wow, that's great. You stay on the move, that's for sure.
I try to keep busy.
Yeah.
My background, I went to San Jose State as a recreation therapist, and I've been known to practice what I preach.
That's great. That's good. Now we're going to talk about some wonderful photos that you brought, and thank you for bringing them because they're wonderful.
Well, thank you.
But the first one is a close-up of you when you're actually in the kayak, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Usually the normal, the hat I always wear and PFD, and so that's kind of my look in the kayak most of the time. So
great. That's wonderful.
It's kind of my standard look.
Yeah. Good. And then the second photo that you gave us is there's several kayaks on the shore, right? And is that when you were where were you there?
Well, ETC provides a lot of outdoor adventures, and one of the venues is sea kayaking, and so they either will do trips local to Sausalito and Richardson Bay, or they'll do trips overnights to Angel Island.
Wow.
And the trips to Angel Island, a lot of the participants will be put into doubles, 2 people per kayak, or triples, depending. And a lot of the guides are often in the singles or one-person boats. And we'll take off from Sausalito and head across Raccoon Straits to I forget the name of the beach over there where the Captain's Lodge and things are over there, and we have an opportunity over there to stay overnight in the quarters there, and we've had a special arrangement with the state park in order to do that, so that our participants don't have to camp out. They can actually stay in the baking house there and stay on the wood floors instead of the dirt. And
wow.
Anyway, so a lot of those pictures are from the trip over there and landing the boats on the beach.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, and then the third one is that also with you in the kayak, and it's so beautiful. The pictures are just gorgeous, very pretty.
We live in a beautiful area. In fact, sea kayaking often gives us a wonderful opportunity to be at a different level in the water. You kind of feel like you're part of the water.
Right.
And one of the exciting parts is Raccoon Straits, and this is a body of water where the water's turbulent often from the changing of the tides and the water coming in and out of the gate.
Oh.
And so that gives us some excitement with the participants as we go out there.
Oh my goodness. And then you actually got to go to Vista Point. That's beautiful.
Yeah, right above the Camp Reynolds, that's what it's called. There's a viewpoint there, and so there's a picture of me standing at the viewpoint, and then there's a picture pointing out back to the city.
Wow.
And the neat thing is because we get to stay overnight on the island, it's pretty magical to be on the island at night.
Right,
and we actually do night hikes all the way up to Point Livermore, which is the highest point on the island, and get to see all the lights all around the bay.
Ooh.
It's pretty special to be up on the island.
Well, and also the Vista Point one. First of all, there's in the way background, you can see the whole skyline of San Francisco. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
And then the second one that you took of that area is like a closer shot of the skyline. of San Francisco is so pretty, just beautiful.
Yeah, it's like I said, viewing the city from the island is a whole different experience. Even if you don't kayak, you could take the ferry over there, and
right.
But you can't stay overnight mostly, though.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then there's you're on the beach with 3 kayaks, and they're kind of all in a row. You said that that's how they park them at night?
When they're on the beach, that's when we land. So we come in off the surf and we land them and we pull up on the beach. So that's that picture. And I think the second picture you're talking about is the one where we park them at night, which they're up on the hill and they're by the captain's quarters there. Yeah. And we have to take them up off the beach so they don't get swept away as the tide changes overnight.
Oh my gosh.
It would be an awful thing to come back with no boats. So.
And the tide gets so high at that area.
Yeah, it almost covers that entire beach. So sometimes when we come in, we want to always come in when the tide's a little lower so we don't get caught with no beach there.
Oh my gosh. And that building is really neat too.
Yeah,
the 3-story building.
They're all historical buildings there, and as many people may or may not know, Angel Island had a lot of military history there, and so the captain's quarters that are there and the bakehouse were all part of the and the parade grounds, the big grass area that are there are all part of the state park service, and they run tours around the island. And the interesting thing is, because we have the special permission as an organization to be there, when the tourists are coming by, we're always talking, wave, say hi to the tourists, because we become part of the island at that point. So
that's right.
Yeah, no,
that's great.
It's a pretty special arrangement they have.
Oh,
so.
that's neat. Oh, fun. Wow.
Yeah.
And then Lee's Ferry, that's a neat picture because of the rafts. There's a big whitewater river rafting, big raft.
Right. So one of the many special activities that ETC does is they'll sponsor like annual or semi-annual events or benefit events. And this was a trip down the Grand Canyon in 2012. And it was a totally accessible trip, and so Lee's Ferry is where all the rafts head out, and so that picture was us getting ready with our group of folks to head out for our 16 days on the river.
Wow,
so
that's a long time.
Yeah, you gotta like sand, water, and camping. So
that's right.
Yeah, it was a fabulous trip, though.
But it's a neat way to meet people and visit with them, and
you get to know the people you're with. In fact, the guides start saying, this is kind of your tribe. And after 16 days together and, living together, you do know each other pretty well. And fortunately, ETC is already kind of like a family to me, and a lot of the folks that went on this trip were people I already knew. So it was a very fun time. And the what do you call it, the expedition, the people running it, that gave us the equipment, the boats, all their professional guides on the Grand Canyon did a fabulous job, and we ate gourmet meals every night. It was pretty fun in that respect.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah.
And you took a lot of really gorgeous photos with the beautiful view of the backdrop of the Grand Canyon.
Absolutely.
That's the next picture. Is so pretty. I love it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the Grand Canyon is a lot of people will see it from the rim, but it's a lot different down in the canyon, and it's spectacular. And I'm not sure what picture you're up to, but there's a picture of me by a waterfall, and that's one of the side canyons.
Yeah.
And in the side canyons are these pristine waterfalls and just very clean water. If you see the main pictures, the water of the Grand Canyon looks kind of muddy and murky because it was late in the season. But the side canyons are all crystal clear, water coming in from the sides.
Yeah, that waterfall is very pretty.
Yeah, it was one of many, many. So
really, and that surprises me.
Yeah,
because it's so warm.
Yeah, well, it was monsoon season also, so we'd have flash waterfalls occasionally with the rainstorms. But one of the neat things ETC did for the trip to make it accessible, so that because normally on a rafting trip people will park the rafts and they'll hike back into the canyons, but because a couple of our participants couldn't hike, they had the inflatable kayaks like you see me later in, and what they would do is they would pull those up the creek so that folks that use wheelchairs can get into the waterfall areas and participate with us. So it was a really neat way to make it accessible.
Wow.
So
kind of like Cleopatra, right?
Yeah. Oh, they did that too. They had they did have a carrying system with poles also.
Wow.
They needed to. So they did a little bit of that also.
Well, I got to go whitewater river rafting a couple times with our On the Move crew, actually.
Fun.
And it's a lot of fun. But I think when you camp overnight, a couple of nights, that's really special. It's a lot of fun.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you become more used to the quiet and no cell phones and,
Right,
and just
exactly.
being part of nature versus our busy lives that we seem to focus on all the time.
And I like the photo of all the rocks along the shoreline. That was really cool.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures of just the scenery because it's just spectacular down there. It just, everywhere you turn, there's just a spectacular view, and a camera almost doesn't do it justice.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. And then you also labeled one of them saying that it was day 10 down in the lower area.
So it was day 10.
Wow.
I'd have to look at our itinerary to see where we were.
So pretty.
But
it was very pretty,
yeah, it was a calm morning when I took that picture, and so I just was up in the morning and went, wow.
Yeah.
Took the picture.
Well, yeah, the reflection of the water was just beautiful with the clouds and the rocks in the background. It was just gorgeous. Really pretty.
Yeah,
And then you've also done cross-country snow skiing.
Correct.
Also, and that, what's it called, Black Clark or something like that? Or?
Glacier Point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
That photo that you gave us was gorgeous.
ETC will venture out occasionally to try out new trips and new opportunities, and so there was 2 years in a row that they tried doing a trip out of Badger Pass to Glacier Point. And in the summer, Glacier Point has a little store, a touristy store there, but in the winter they convert it to a lodge with bunk beds and things like that. And so they did an over the weekend trip out there and took a small group out there. It's a fairly significant ski, though. It's about a 10-mile ski. So,
wow.
So for people that aren't used to that length of skiing, it's a bit. But it was a fun trip, and there's some gorgeous pictures that I have of that also. So.
I bet you guys really slept well that night.
Absolutely.
10 miles.
Yeah, it goes by quickly.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
You have the advantage of gliding.
Oh, yeah, with the skis. That's good.
Yeah, and we had two folks with sit skis also participate, and a couple visually impaired folks, including myself.
And boy, were their arms tired.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, it's all in the technique.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And then I love the photo of you playing your flute. That's really neat. How long have you been playing the flute?
Since I was a kid. It was interesting being a visually impaired person, growing up in just regular public schools.
Yeah.
I first started on the violin, and they cut that program out, but I had to play kind of sideways so I could see the music anyway. And so I decided on the flute because I could get closer to the music.
Oh, hey. Very smart. Wow.
Still needed really big notes, but
I'm thinking that's good.
I did well. My brother and sister are also very musical, and so I've kept up with the flute and also play some saxophone. And I'm not involved in any bands currently, but at work we used to have a fun band where we would play for special events at work, and that was
cool.
It was good. It kept me practicing.
Yeah.
So.
And the saxophone is another really interesting instrument that seems really hard. I think my brother practiced it when he was a kid.
Yeah, I play tenor and alto, and I love jazz and blues and stuff, and that instrument really lends itself to that type of music.
Oh,
so,
cool.
And
Very good.
taking leads.
Yeah, all right.
So.
And you know, you had a wonderful photograph of your tandem bike ride that you do. Is it actually racing?
Well, I've done it all.
Yeah.
So I have tandem cycled since the mid 90s.
Wow.
Before that, I was just riding my single bike carefully.
Yeah, very carefully.
But I used to race with the Los Gatos Bicycle Racing Club for a while, and then between doing that and after, I started doing ultra distance.
Yeah.
And the pictures I have with me today are of my greatest accomplishment, which was riding in the 2007 Paris-Brest-Paris event in France. Yeah.
And that's the next picture.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
But we'll talk about it. But the group shot that you originally had, it was huge. I mean, how many people did you say participated?
Yeah, usually Paris-Brest-Paris is run every 4 years, and it's a huge event in France. And there's about 5,000 folks from all over the world, all different countries, and it's quite a special event. It's almost as popular as Tour de France, but like I said, every 4 years. And it's an ultra distance event. It's 1,200K event, and so we did it in 83 hours. So that's like 3.5 days of riding. Wow! And you don't just wake up and decide you're going to go. You have to do a lot of bevets and practice for it. Yeah. So I'm very accomplished as a cyclist, and it's something else I enjoy doing in the outdoors. I've kind of slacked off on the long distance, so I've done a lot with it. But now I do normal bike riding. Yeah. So.
And then the other picture that I thought was really interesting was you actually took the picture of you when you were on the bike, and your tandem buddy was in front of you, and you got the picture so that you could see all the bikers around you. Bicyclists, I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, cyclists, bicyclists.
Okay,
it all works.
And then, but then you can see his back, you know, from your perspective, as you're, you know, riding, pedaling with him.
Yeah, that's the view of the stoker, the person on the back of the tandem. And the nice thing about being on the back of the tandem is I could ride without my hands and take pictures. So
wow.
And you
kind of hands-free.
Yeah, hands-free. Of course, the riders come by and tell the captain that I'm not pedaling, but really I am. So it's a lot of fun on the tandem, though. And it's allowed me to continue cycling safely, you know, with my vision loss. So
good.
Yeah.
That's great. And then you actually had another photo that you added in there about a friend of yours. And give us the description of that. You said the wheelchair is able to,
Oh, yeah, when we were going down the Grand Canyon, one of the pictures I gave you, it might not be in sequence, is of the side of the raft where they made a special seat. So instead of just sitting in the center of the raft, sometimes what they do with folks that, because when you're paddling a paddle boat, you have to sit on the tube. You have to sit on the outside so you could stick the paddle in the water.
Wow.
So they rigged up this chair so that it would keep her stable on the edge of the tube and allow her to paddle. And it worked fairly well. And there were some rapids she chose not to be in the paddle boat. We got to rotate what boats we got to, whether we were in an oar boat where someone paddled for us, or if we were in a paddle boat, or one of the smaller boats like you saw me in one of the smaller yellow kayaks. And so depending on what you wanted to do, you could rotate through. And you had 16 days, so you could try the different crafts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
good.
It was fun.
Very good. So has Mark been able to participate with you?
Yeah, Mark is actually a guide also. So he's been involved in the kayak program.
That's good.
Yeah, so he's an avid avid kayaker.
Oh, okay.
And I actually met him at ETC through the volunteering program.
Oh, that's great.
So.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that a lot of people are needed for different programs that are happening. Are most of them up in San Francisco or?
Well, Environmental Traveling Companions is based out of Fort Mason. That's their home station. That's where their office is.
Okay.
But their venues, the kayaking is done in Sausalito and Tamales Bay. The whitewater rafting is done up in the American River, and the cross-country skiing program is usually done up in the Bear Valley, Arnold area, up in that Calaveras County there. So, but what happens each year is there's a call for volunteers, and the volunteers don't necessarily have to have skills in those areas, though it's nice if they do. But they will. There's a couple things that they do. They do interview them. It's a serious position to be a volunteer because there's a lot of responsibility tied into being a guide, and you go through several different trainings, not only to be proficient at kayaking or cross-country skiing or whitewater rafting, but then also you learn about how to work with the different populations that ETC usually sees. And part of that, I do some disability awareness around vision loss with ETC, and I also help with some of the trainings. But they want to make sure that all the guides, because some of them are young, they haven't maybe worked with someone with a disability, has some awareness of some of the etiquette and some of the things to just be conscious of in working with them. So a lot of the populations they see are, they work with several of the different visually impaired groups around the Bay Area, some of the centers for the disabled around the area. They also do a lot with inner city kids, and I forget what the newest politically correct thing is, but the at-risk youth, or and different populations. I know they've had many successful trips with other groups of folks, and basically anyone can sign up in group, and they do benefit trips too, and a whole variety of things.
Well, if somebody's interested in calling them and finding out, who would they call?
If call the main office, and you want the phone number? It's 415-474-7662.
Okay, good.
And someone in the office can direct you to the program director of the what area they're interested in.
And they can tell them what they're interested in volunteering for, either kayaking or cross-country skiing or
the rafting,
rafting. Right?
Those are the three main ones.
Oh, okay. Oh, good, great. So. And depending on their situation, they could, if they're locally a little closer up to San Francisco, then that might help a little bit. So
it does, but I'm in the South Bay here. There's people in the East Bay, so as long as you could get yourself to the venues, and some of us carpool together to get to different places. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's the easiest one to get to, of course, is Sausalito. So the other ones are farther out there. But I think anyone that has an interest in volunteering and likes working with people, that's a criteria.
Exactly.
Got to enjoy the outdoors. And I think our executive leader of ETC has always really emphasized the connecting people with the outdoors, because there's a lot of folks in our environment that never venture out, and the reward for myself as a volunteer is always that aha moment when someone's standing at Angel Island that maybe was a kid in a gang somewhere, and realizing there's more to the world than their little island, and they get to see things through different perspectives,
All right.
or taking people up to the snow for the first time. That's
cool.
always fun. Half the time we don't even ski. We have snowball fights up there. And we just like having fun with them, and it's not hardcore. Let's learn how to cross country ski.
Yeah.
It's more about the environment and being out there and having a good time.
Socialization.
Right. It's just a lot of fun. And I've been guiding cross-country skiing first with ETC for over 20 years, and so I've become a very proficient cross-country ski instructor, because I also have worked with our VA winter sports clinic in Colorado also. So I know a lot about adaptive skiing.
Yeah, very good. That's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, you are definitely on the move with your full-time job, and then to the involvement of all the different activities.
Oh, it's fun. I was recently at a low vision expo in the South Bay here, and I was representing both ETC and my work at the VA, and I kept on saying, this is my day job, this is my weekend job.
Right.
So,
exactly. Well, tell us the phone number again, please.
Yeah, it was 415-474-7662.
All right.
Yeah.
So they can contact them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Liz, so very much for joining us.
Oh,
really.
it was fun.
It's wonderful meeting you, too.
Okay.
Well, we met before, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Okay. Well, it's my pleasure, and I hope if anyone's interested in ETC, they please give them a call.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And thank you so very much for joining us. Until next time, I'm Donna Yeager with On the Move. Have a wonderful day.
Got it. If you see us in your businesses or see us on TV, don't be surprised, because you'll see us there again. And again. Because we're showing our abilities and building self-esteem. We're going places that we've never been.
Hey, we're on the move to make this world a better place. We're on the move, we're striking out to set the pace. We all can choose to make a difference. Our time is overdue. If we collect our dreams, take them on the move. We're on the move to make this world a better place. We're on the move, we're striking out to set the pace. We all can choose to make a difference. Our time is overdue. If we collect our dreams, take them on the move. If we collect our dreams, take them on the move. So let's pick up our dreams, take them on the move.